Good morning, my brothers and sisters. Welcome to episode number 141 in the book of Genesis. Today's title is Honoring the One Who Was Raped. So, the context of the story is from Genesis chapter 34, where Shechem rapes Dinah, who is the daughter of Jacob, also known as Israel. And of note, the crazy thing about the story is lots of crazy things, but after the rape, he wants to marry her. And so Dinah's brothers are just outraged by this, appropriately so, and they plot a response and a revenge, which is kind of ingenious but very nasty, deceitful. And they propose that all of Hamar's, that's the father of the rapist, all of his people become circumcised at the same time. So I'm going to pick up the story in Genesis chapter 34 and verse 18. So after they propose this, everybody gets circumcised, their words pleased Hamor and Hamar's son Shechem. He's the rapist. And the young man did not delay to do the thing, because he delighted in Jacob's daughter. First he rapes her, and then she's a delight. Now he was the most honored in all his father's household, which is crazy because he's the rapist. So Hamor and his son Shechem came to the gate of the city and spoke to the men of the city, saying, "These men are at peace with us, the nation of Israel men are at peace with us. Let them dwell in the land and trade in it, for behold, the land is large enough for them. Let us take their daughters as wives, and let us give them our daughters. Only on this condition will the men agree to dwell with us and become one people, when every male among us is circumcised as they are circumcised." And then a little promise here. "Will not their livestock, their property, and all their beasts be ours? Only let us agree with them, and they will dwell with us." And all who went out from the gate of the city listened to Hamor and his son Shechem, and every male was circumcised, all who went out of the city. On the third day after circumcision, when they were sore. Now, this is the part that I wonder about. This is not in the Bible, but I wonder about infection. So, they had one sharp knife, probably, or the sharpest knife in the city was used for this, and I imagine they just went from guy to guy, and because most wounds feel better after 3 days unless they're infected. So my opinion and wondering is, I wonder if the reason these guys were sore is because they were all infected, because they used the same dull knife on the 40 guys before you. Okay. So on the third day, when they were sore, the two sons of Jacob, Simon and Levi, Dinah's brothers, took their swords and came against the city while it felt secure, and killed all the males. They killed Hamor, the father of the rapist, and his son Shechem, the rapist, with the sword, and took Dinah out of Shechem's house and went away. The sons of Jacob came upon the slain and plundered city, because they had defiled their sister. They took their flocks, their herds, their donkeys, whatever was in the city and in the field, all their wealth, and all their little ones, and their wives, so children, women and children they took, and all that was in the houses they captured and plundered. Then Jacob said to Simeon and Levi, "You have brought trouble on me by making me stink to the inhabitants of the land, the Canaanites and the Perizzites. My numbers are few, and if they gather themselves against me and attack me, I shall be destroyed, both I and my household." But Simeon and Levi they said, "Should he treat our sister like a prostitute?" So that's the end of the story, and nobody ends the story looking good except for Dinah. Shechem, he offers no apology. There's no remorse. He does something despicable, and it's kind of glossed over. It's never talked about in the discussion of marriage and bride price, and it just de-emphasizes the value that women were seen in those cultures. Which emphasizes the way Jesus treated women, which is fantastic. I mean, read the stories of Martha, Mary Magdalene, the group of women that followed him, how Jesus honored women in the years to come. All right, how about Jacob? Well, Jacob is more passive in the story than we might like. Where's his courage? Because the first words he speaks are not about the daughter. He worries about the people in the surrounding area that would find this violent, and they would treat him with violence, and maybe put the covenantal promises of God at risk. That's a positive way of spinning it. Genesis 49, when he is on his deathbed, when Israel is on his deathbed, he condemns this anger that Simeon and Levi have, and he basically overlooks them in the will. Simeon and Levi, they kind of do the family sin of deceitfulness. It's repeated throughout the generations. They're motivated by anger clearly, and want to avenge by murder the rape of their sister. Now, you may wonder why just the two brothers. Well, they were the ones that had the same mother as Dinah, so they weren't step sisters and brothers. They were full sisters and brothers. But they don't leave any room for the justice of God. All right, so let's wrap up this rape chapter. What's here for us? Is there anyone here to admire? First of all, I admire Scripture to feature a raped woman as the central character of this narrative, which is amazing. But nobody comes out of the story looking good. Shechem is too rapey. His father is too ignoring. Jacob is too passive, and Simeon and Levi are too angry and violent. So ironically, the only person in this chapter who is sinless, in my opinion, is the person that's raped. It's Dinah, not Diana. So it's a grievous story. It grieves me to hear about it way back then, and it grieves me today. Why is that? Well, especially because I know that sex and its application is grossly misused today. And it is still a tool or a territory that people use to harm each other. So I grieve with you the likely misuse of your sexual gift, the one that you had primary agency over. And I also grieve with you the possible abuse or assault or crime that may have been foisted upon you, like was in the story here, in what you did not have agency over. So I leave you primarily in Genesis chapter 4, leave you with grief, except for honoring the only one unscathed by sin, who is the person that was raped, which is Dinah. Thanks for listening.